Hi, my name is Javier Cantu. My son Jacob Cantu is 7 years old and he's in the 6th grade. We live in Edinburgh, Texas. My son Jacob has been meeting with Mr. Bernardo Garcia for just over 6 months. We started coming here in August of 2019. Now, the big question on everybody's mind is, why would somebody like me solicit the services of Mr. Garcia? Well, right around 2 years ago, my wife and I started noticing some significant changes in Jacob's behavior. Jacob was having trouble sleeping. He no longer wanted to sleep in his own room, in his own bed. He was starting to have pretty severe nightmares. He was anxious about just about everything in his life. One of the biggest problems we noticed is that he was really worried about death. And he kept making these same complaints about only having one life and what happens if you just walk out on the street, or if something happens while we're driving. And these were things that were not normal for any one of our 3 children. Well, he also lost focus in school, and we noticed that his grades were affected very, very severely. And when my wife and I were discussing these changes, we were trying to figure out, why did these come about? Well, we don't have any psychology training of any kind. I'm an accountant. My wife is a nurse. So the only thing that I could come up with was the one significant change that happened in our lives was Jacob lost his grandfather. His grandfather and he were very close, and that was the only thing that I could hang my hat on, that I figured Jacob was being affected by. So what did we do? We did the only thing we could do. We thought about the movies or the shows that we had seen, and we thought, let's go see a child psychologist. So we found one, maybe online, I guess we Googled it, and we went to see that person. We spent 2 sessions with that person and didn't really notice any changes at all. And being a typical Hispanic father who doesn't like to admit that there's something wrong with his children, I was really resistant to going to see anybody else after those 2 sessions didn't work. Well, by pure chance, a really good friend of mine had mentioned to me that his kids were going through some issues and recommended that we come see Mr. Garcia. Again, pure chance. He and I weren't even really discussing my kids at all at that point. But I can tell you that I really am the typical Hispanic father. I'm that alpha machista, doesn't want to admit that there's something wrong with his kids. And my wife and I went back and forth about coming to see Bernardo, because hypnotherapy is not something that you talk about every day. It's not something that's very typical, especially amongst Hispanics. And you can ask my wife. We went back and forth for almost 10 days about whether or not we should come do this. And finally, she convinced me, let's give it a shot. And I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, I am a normal individual. Nobody's paying me to say this. I'm doing this out of the kindness of my own heart, because I really believe in this system. My son no longer has to sleep with me. He's very excited about coming to see Bernardo. He has no more trouble focusing in school. He is now on the all A honor roll. Everything I can tell you about what has been going on here, and we only see Bernardo maybe on average twice a month, and that's not very many times. And just the improvement in the quality of life that we can see in Jacob is well worth all of the anxieties that I had bringing my son here. So from a very, very normal human being, a normal individual, I can promise you from the bottom of my heart, I feel that every one of these sessions that my son Jacob has come to has just gradually increased in the positivity that we see in Jacob. And Jacob now looks forward to coming here. Dad, when are we going to go see Mr. Garcia? Dad, when are we going to go see Mr. Garcia? Is it almost Wednesday? And that should be enough to let you know that this system works, that somebody like me, who was very hesitant at the beginning, is now a believer. And if you have any doubts at all whatsoever, feel free to contact me in any way, shape, or form, by phone, by email, and I'll tell you all the same thing over the phone. Again, my name is Javier Cantu. Thank you for your time.